There's always a constant conversation about hip hop reaching a saturation point, especially in 2025, where we have the ability to make songs at a click of a prompt, putting it out to the masses at a snap of a finger. And so, what we're seeing right now is a bit of counterculture to that. And what I mean is that we're seeing a more genuine relationship between producer or DJ and MC on the underground circuit. And so, this album that came my way, Parasite by Blac AK, is a prime example of a sound in hip hop that I truly miss. And that sound kind of reminds me of like a 2001 Quantum Records, Lyrics Born, Gifted Gab, Black Alicious song sound, where you have sing songy choruses, authentic raw beats, and topical, which is important, topical and thematic lyrics. So this album Parasite, which by the way, sick album cover. I'll probably put it right here. Maybe here. I'll put it right here. And with the album cover, beautiful work by the way. It kind of already sets a tone, which I think is a lost art when it comes to hip hop. A lot of times hip hop artists get lost in the external influences. Like, oh, I see Drake do something, so I'm gonna go do some Drake shit, right? But the thematic album, like an album that has a front to back theme, is really one of the most beautiful things in hip hop. And so I really appreciate this album because there's a strong theme. So the album's called Parasite, and on the title track, you could tell that it's about a relationship. Forlorn, brokenhearted, exes, not exactly clear, but it seems to be kind of a toxic relationship. And this toxic relationship plays out over the course of these 8 songs. Now, as I said earlier, when I first played this song, the title track, Parasite, my brain immediately kicked back to the early 2000s. Black Alicious, don't let money change your life, like that kind of sound. And I had to take a couple of extra days because it was hard to like describe that sound. It's just authentic. It's basically the best way to describe it. It doesn't feel like it's contrived or it's any type of like mainstream trap bullshit. Like, no, this is like a really authentic thematic album that seems to act as a bit of solace for Blac AK as they man this album. So in terms of the production, it feels like it's just 2 dudes in the studio making beats, rapping and singing, which I think that the casual listener thinks that that's what most hip hop is nowadays. But if you listen to most mainstream hip hop, there's a lot of polish to it. And this album, not to say that it's not mixed or mastered well, but it has a bit of raw griminess to it that honestly I really appreciate. And this is something that I talk about a lot because I'm in the AI world, and I feel like albums like this are become more and more important because the sound of it sounds like it was made by humans. It doesn't have that manufactured Suno noise or the super over polish that you're hearing in a lot of pop mainstream music or even hip hop music. This sounds like this was built from the soul, and it's manifested that way throughout these 8 tracks. Some of my favorites on here are Parasite, the title track, Cheer Up, Limonada, really solid production provided by AK. Not the album's not perfect. I think that the beat on Unbeatable, I think it is a little stale, and it sounds a little like it could use a little bit more polish. But like I said, there's a little bit of charm behind this album having a underground sound. Like when I hear this album, it feels underground. It feels like something that you're not gonna just listen to all the time for the sake of it topping the charts or doing whatever. This album comes from the soul. And so when I was listening to the lyrics, I was trying to figure out like what exactly the story was. And I might be wrong about this, but in the title track, you know, he calls himself a parasite. And throughout this album, we're hearing these interactions with different women, or maybe the same woman, and how this character, whether it's black or a character that is manifested, is dealing with love, connection, spirit, hope, a little bit of hope in there, but most importantly, toxicity. that seems to be the common theme in this album is toxicity, which is interesting because it's a way of showing your vulnerability as an artist, but in a way that also feels not in line with what you expect someone to be when they're talking about being toxic. In the sense that Black, who does most of the rapping on here, is basically kind of putting himself in a situation where he is acting like he's not at fault, but also is at fault. And what I mean by that is like, hey, I'm a parasite, right? I'm letting you know that if you decide to let me into your life, I will be parasitic and toxic. And if you decide to do that, it's going to be on you because you chose that. And I let you know. So there's like a little bit of like absolution there where it's like, well, you made that choice, but it's very vulnerable because I feel like it's almost kind of like an R&B kind of vibe, which you mean it's accompanied with the singing in that sense, in the sense that a lot of R&B artists are like, well, you know, I'm a player and I'm toxic, but you still want me. That's kind of how this album feels a little bit. It's like, yeah, I'm a mess, but you know, it's a mess that you want to deal with. And I think it's very vulnerable. It's something that I really enjoyed listening to. The production is solid for the most part. Like I said, there was a little bit of some polish that needs to be needed on some of the beats. When I say polish, I mean that like the production sounded like they use like stock sounds. That's kind of what I mean by that. Is that like some of the beats feel like the drum kits or maybe like the drum kits that were on FL Studio or Logic or whatever they use to make the beats. The album could benefit from a little bit more fleshing out of the production is what I mean by that. That's not even on every song. But even the beat for Parasite, the title track, sounds like it could use a little bit more pizzazz sprinkled on it. But once again, this album was made by two dudes in the lab. And so if you go check out my review for Nas's album, Light Years, I talk about this where it's just like the concept of being in the studio with somebody, making music in the moment or over the course of a period of time and just letting the vibes kind of manifest itself is a beautiful art and an underappreciated art form. And I feel like the fact that they were able to manifest this whole concept album off of those sessions is extremely beautiful. And the album comes out clean. They got it done over at Sullivan Production. Shout out to Sullivan. They make good work over there, do good stuff over there. But like I said earlier, it still feels like it's coming from like a grimy place, like a place that's like raw hip hop, like hip hop that comes from a place that is real and not manufactured. I keep bringing up Quantum Records. I keep bringing up Black Alicious and Gift of Gab and Lyrics Born because that's what my head flashes back to every time I hear these songs. I'm like, this sounds like something Lyrics Born would do. This sounds like something Black Alicious would do. And that's like a really, at least in my opinion, that's a great compliment because if you listen to Black Alicious music, it's extremely thematic. And me as a storyteller, if you know me at this point, I love stories. I love themes. I love morals. I love values and lessons to be learned. I love cautionary tales. I love when artists are able to inject something deeper than just me rapping cool on a beat. Here's a beat. Here's me talking about how cool I am. Here's some words that I rhyme. Let's throw it up on Spotify. No, they took time to hop into the lab and be like, all right, bet I have these ideas and these songs about my life that I really want to, or maybe they're not about his life. I don't know. But I have these songs that I want to share with the world, and I need your help with this to make this a thing. And you could feel it. You really can feel it in the music. I love it. I love it. So shout out to Blac AK. I don't think it's out yet. I think they gave me the early preview. But make sure you guys go check out Parasite by Blac AK. It might be out by the time this review drops, but just go check it out. If you're a fan of, like I said, early 2000s hip hop, I'm talking like Lyrics Born, Most Def, Black Alicious, Gift of Gab, even like Atmosphere, I'm talking like a very particular era. This is like kind of before blog rap, but like kind of like MySpace rap era. Jurassic 5 is another example. Charlie Tuna. It's like this grimy singing mixed with like dope, organic grassroots beats and great storytelling rapping. That's what Parasite is for Blac AK. So if you like that stuff, you really should check it out. You should check it out. I would avoid this album if your favorite rapper is like 21 Savage, or if your favorite rapper is like Playboy Cardi. If that's like the type of music that you fuck with, then you probably shouldn't listen to this because you probably won't like it. That's being real. And it's not even a diss to Parasite. It's a Blac AK's album because like in the world of hip hop, there's just so much to take from it, right? There's so many different sounds and different genres and different artists doing different things, but there are some things that you can kind of put into different little umbrellas and categories. So, you know, if you're into the trap music, you know, if you're into like the current Atlanta sound, I'm gonna stay away from this. But if you're into some like, I don't even know, like uh who's a modern artist, like a Denzel Curry, or even like uh I don't know, like Lupe Fiasco, Coast Contra. There's a bunch of people who are doing like the authentic hip hop sound still, like it's not gone, but it's underground. It's underground rap, and it's something that like you kind of have to look for. So I'm hoping that this video helps boost that signal to where you know you listen, you might watch this review and might go check it out and maybe become new fans of Blac AK. But make sure you go check out the project. I'll put a link in the bio below so you can check it out for yourself. Also, if you guys want to get your music review by me, hit me up. You can email me or just send me a DM or whatever. But that's all I got to say for now. I'll be back with more reviews very, very soon. I appreciate you guys for watching. Peace.